Hey folks, welcome back. Happy spring. I hope you're having a good week. Let's take a look at last week. I want to look briefly at the annotated bibliography. If I've asked you to revise it and resubmit it so that I can regrade it, please do that. An annotated bibliography, it is a list and description of the sources that you're going to use for the op-ed. These sources should be in some way related to TV, as that is the topic for the op-ed. So make sure that you have sources that connect to a TV show. A annotated bibliography asks you to summarize the source, and then it asks you to evaluate. Is it a reliable source? Why so? And then it asks you to reflect. How are you going to use this source in your paper? So if you missed one of those parts, I took a few points off and I've asked you to revise it. So get that back to me. You can email it. You can resubmit it on D2L so I can get you the full 10 points. So that's the annotated bibliography. And make sure you look at those readings from last week on evaluating crap sources. Is a source current, reliable, authoritative? Does it have an educational purpose? And media diet, which goes into a great way to evaluate newspapers. You should be using reliable local, national, and international newspapers. I'm getting a lot of .coms, which is commercial websites, and .orgs for your sources. Those aren't really reliable. So you want to look at our readings. I'll show you in a second. Reliable papers are like the Denver Post, the Christian Science Monitor, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the LA Times, the Seattle Times. Those are local, national, reliable papers. If I want to go international, La Prensa in Mexico, the South African, the Irish Times. These are well-respected international newspapers. So folks, you need to start varying your source list and think about what are your sources. Are they reliable or are they more a .com, commercial source? So let's take a look at some sources. I go to Google Scholar or I go to the Red Rocks Library database. So let's say you want to write about, you hate laugh tracks on Friends or The Big Bang Theory, and they've always bothered you. So you want to investigate that for this paper, right? That's a great arguable topic. So there's just a few things written on this. There's not a lot. And certainly not a lot has been applied to current shows with laugh tracks. Most of these are about Friends, okay? So this is a great way to work, is find a really interesting academic source and then apply that in a new context. So I could really shine a light on a current show that uses a laugh track. So let me show you what a academic peer-reviewed source looks like. It's long, right? It goes into a lot of depth and breadth and history on a topic, right? So this is about 11, 12 pages. And if you look at the end, there are pages of references, pages of facts. Look where they're getting their facts. They're getting their sources and facts from books, from journals, right? They're not getting their facts from websites or .coms or .orgs. They're getting it from hardcore sources. So this is a good source, right? They have consulted 60, 70, 80. They've consulted 84 different works, right, to make up their article. I trust that, right? They did their homework. They got it. So that's what I'm talking about with an academic source. Okay, so that is the annotated bibliography. Let's look at this week briefly. This week, post your op-ed draft to the discussion board. There you will peer review 2 of your colleagues and post your draft to this box where I will give you my feedback. So essentially you're posting to 2 boxes this week of your draft. If you want to know if you forgot what the prompt was, right, I included the op-ed prompt again. You have to use at least 2 academic sources and a total of 7 sources. You could have like 2 TV shows, 2 academic sources, and then a few newspapers. You've got all your sources. Check out the higher order reading. That's how I'd like you to peer review. I want you to focus on development, argument, not grammar, not punctuation, right? And then I have this little reading that I think would be really helpful. It's different types of claims. So we've looked at problem statements, we've looked at narrowing. Now let's look at, if you're struggling with a claim, these are the 6 main types of claims. So you should have a structure for your claim. So let's say you want to make a claim of definition, right? How do you do that? I would say, okay, I want to look at some kids shows like Paw Patrol, and I want to define those as propaganda, right? These little dogs run around like cops. They act like cops. They look like cops, right? They smell like they're cops. So I want to define that show as propaganda for children. Do you see how that's a clear definition? This show is something. And then I would just read several scenes from that show. I would quote that show to prove my point. And then I would use our reading on propaganda from last week as one of my main sources. If I want to make a claim of value, I think it's immoral to give children propaganda, right? They're children. They can't really see through it. What's causing that? As fear of crime goes up, love of cops go up. Many critics assert that claim of cause. I could look at 2 different cop shows for a claim of comparison. I could do like a Spanish language cop show, and I could do an English language cop show, right? And I could, by comparing those 2 things, I'm gonna come to a larger point, right? I think it's always interesting to compare sort of an international source to a local one. They reveal a lot of information, and that is a really original claim. A claim of policy, well, obviously I think we should stop making cop shows. But you can't censor TV. So I would say, okay, well, what about, putting some warning labels on these for children? Like, Paw Patrol is propaganda, So a claim of policy is a great sort of arguable claim to make. It's what do we do at the local, state, or national level? So take a look at these different claim types. You should know what your claim is. If not, it lacks a structure. So ask yourself, what kind of claim am I making? You don't want to make claims of fact, right? You can start your paper with claims of fact, but for this paper, right, we're moving beyond fact and summary into analysis and evaluation. So you can start with, there's a lot of kids shows that have cops on them, fact, and then move into a definition, right? And I call these kids shows propaganda. So take a look at that. Lastly, we can take a look at, I have some people writing about superheroes. Great way to do that, right? Plug in your topic of interest in Google Scholar or the library database. You're going to get a lot on that, right? Find some good academic sources. And then I think a great way to work is, find the source that really resonates. And then you want to apply that source to a new show or a YouTube channel or a commercial. So I'm looking at, the superhero justice, right? And I've read this source and it talks about, well, we have superheroes because we don't have a good criminal justice system. So these superheroes give us a sense that, crime will be solved, even though most crimes are not solved in this country. So I would apply that thinking to like new shows that portray cops. A lot of these look at the show Cops or older shows. So I want to apply this thinking to a new show, right? Take these ideas, put them in a new context, put them in a current context. That's called an application claim. They're very successful. Okay, folks, if you have any questions, email me. I love responding to your emails. Keep them coming. Thank you.